MMA Inside the Cage, brought to you by Advanced Sports Labs. Expedite your blood work today at advancedsportslabs.com.
Welcome to MMA Inside the Cage, bringing the world of mixed martial arts straight to you. I'm your host, Cyrus Fees. Next to me, the man that is all ate up with jealousy, talking about Casey Oxen.
Well, I have to admit, I'm a little perturbed right now that I didn't make it out to the Arnolds and to Strikeforce. You know, that was women's MMA history right there. It was but, you know, we made some women's MMA history ourselves, you know. My fighter, Michael Tyson, she, brought home her first MMA victory right there at Cage Brawl that same night, so, I'm not too agitated. Maybe a little bit.
I can see it on your face, brother. You know what? MMA Inside the Cage did make it out to Columbus, Ohio, to the Arnold Classic and to Strikeforce Tate vs. Rousey. We have a knockdown, drag-out main event coming up later, and you'll never believe who I caught up with at the Arnold Classic Expo. But let's get into the event. Of course, we know the main event was heavily hyped, probably one of the most hyped women's MMA events that we've seen in a long time. And this one was good from beginning to end, even with the prelims. Ryan Couture kicked it off on Showtime Extreme with a rare TKO victory over a very tough Connor Hune out of 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, you had Eddie Bravo on one side, you had Randy Couture on the other side. It was pretty cool stuff. And Ryan Couture really made a big jump by beating Hune like that. That's just really good to see.
Well, wrestler versus jiu-jitsu right there, and of course wrestling prevailed for a second-generation fighter. It was good. It was impressive.
It was real good. Now, Pat Healy goes over Carlos Fodor, and what many consider an upset by arm triangle is a really nice submission. And Pat Healy, it seems like every time it's an upset for him. Yeah. But this guy is good, and they're saying he's in the title hunt, man.
Yeah, I think it's because Healy's been around for so long. I mean, he's been around for years, and you never heard anything from him, and now he's making a rise again. That's impressive.
I'm thinking he's going to go from being a gatekeeper to being a contender right now. That's kind of what it looks like. So. And Healy's going to meet Jay-Z Cavalcante on May 19th at Strikeforce 40. That's something to look forward to. Next was a battle of Ohio as Cincinnati's Roger Bowling met newcomer Brandon Sailing out of Cleveland. Cincinnati versus Cleveland. Both guys take the fight on short notice, but it's Bowling that dominates this fight. Let's go and listen to the post-fight where Bowling talks about the effects of the tornadoes on his mindset.
That was on my mind a lot. Not my town. I grew up in a really small town, Neville, Ohio, but Moscow, a town right before the small town just got completely wiped out. So I was on the phone all night with my mom and my friends and family, and a bunch of their houses and stuff got tore up. So
some things mean more, right? Is that basically what you're getting at? These things weigh on you. I can only imagine.
Well, it didn't affect the fight at all, but my prayers and stuff go out to everybody in Moscow and Felicity, where I'm from. I think there was a few fatalities, so I just thoughts and prayers are with them guys. So.
Now, the story isn't over on this one. His opponent, Brandon Sailing, we found out had a very dark past, and it's come out that he actually had a rape charge back from when he was 18 years old, and he also had a domestic assault charge. And to add icing to the cake, at the weigh-ins and during the fight, you could visibly see neo-Nazi tattoos on his chest. This is crazy. How did Strikeforce let this get by them?
Man, they're going to take some heat for that, for letting that go down. But, it is what it is. And, Strikeforce was just trying to put together a good card. And, and the fight was a pretty good fight, so... it is what it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just one of those things, politically correctness, that sort of thing.
In this day and age, you got to watch.
Yeah, it's true. Now, finally, finishing up the prelims was a big women's MMA matchup that most likely decided the #1 contender for the 135-pound title. Yet Sarah Kaufman, the former champion, taking on Alexis Davis, a very worthy contender. And this one was fight of the night for most. I'll tell you what, Casey, it looked like a Rocky movie, man. This was crazy. First 2 rounds, you saw Alexis Davis just getting her face pounded. It looked like hamburger meat at the end. 3rd round, she makes a comeback, gets the takedown. She made it a close decision. This fight was good.
Regardless of the hype, they weren't going to let the Tate Rousey fight overshadow them.
That's true.
And Sarah Kaufman really put herself in position to vie for that title again. She kind of felt that she was in position initially to face Miesha Tate. No question about it at this point. It was bloody, it was nasty, and it was a great war, and that was a testament to women's MMA.
That's right. And it was going to take a lot for Tate and Rousey to follow that up. We'll see what happened in the main event and the rest of the main card after the break, and we'll also hear from MMA legend Don Frye and Strikeforce Lightweight Champion Gilbert Melendez, among others, later on in the program. But first, it's your MMA Inside the Cage Armbar of the week. Oh, come on, Casey.
Tate's got to get herself moving and get out of there. The ref's going to step in.
Rousey going to work on the champion from her back.
Looking for the arm again. Here she goes.
And again now transitioning to the arm. Less than a minute remaining in the first round. Ronda Rousey extending the arm.
She's got to squeeze her knees a little bit.
Tate hanging on, desperately trying to survive.
Oh, she's going to break it.
Oh, it's over. Rousey has done it. 5 professional fights. 5 first-round armbar submissions. Ronda Rousey is the new Strikeforce Women's Bantamweight Champion. She backed up all the trash talking. What an athlete. What a victory.
That was an incredible fight.
As a professional fighter, there's a lot of things I need to be concerned about. I need to be concerned about my opponent. I need to worry about my fans. I don't want to have to be concerned about my blood work. That's why I go to Advanced Sports Labs, and I get my blood work done in an affordable manner. They get it done fast. They send it to the commission, they send it to the promoter, and they send it to me, so I have peace of mind knowing that everything's done properly.
Why wouldn't you use Advanced Sports Labs? They get things done faster than the competition, and their standard rates are lower than everyone else's sale rates. It's no brainer.
Expedite your blood work today at advancedsportslabs.com.
This is Stipe Miocic, and I just want to say check out Advanced Sports Labs. They do your blood work fast, affordable, they take care of everything. Those guys are awesome. They're my sponsor. They take care of me. Check them out.
Expedite your blood work with Advanced Sports Labs. MMA Inside the Cage, brought to you by Advanced Sports Labs.
Welcome back. Second round action, and we're digging deep into the big Strikeforce event last weekend in Columbus, Ohio. The main card was 5 big fights with title implications all over the place. First fight on the Showtime card featured former middleweight champion Jacare Souza taking on Bristol Marunde, making his Strikeforce debut. Now, Marunde actually had some great fights for superior cage combat, made his jump into Strikeforce, but Jacare was too much to handle. I mean, he came off the cage like Pettis, dude, for the Showtime kick, except for he threw on the RNC. It was crazy. You got to believe that Jacare's right back in the middle of the mix for the title.
Man, Jacare's always been on another level. You know what I mean? He starts jiu-jitsu. You know, he's a world champion jiu-jitsu guy. He's famous. You know, before he even came to MMA, he was famous for that. You know, a lot of people felt like that he beat Luke Rockhold, even though it was a unanimous decision. You know, a lot of people scoring it and watching at home, you know, felt like that he should have won that initially. Jacare's the man, you know, and he's going to be in strong contendership.
Oh yeah, they kept on showing Rockhold throughout the fight. They're saying that one's probably going to happen, so that'll be interesting. You know, we got action from the welterweights next, as the always controversial Paul Daley faced off with former Pride champ Kazuo Masaki. Now Daley continues to look good in his fights, and he looked good in this one, but Masaki just outpointed him in this one, taking the decision. Daley takes another loss, and it looks like he's that much further from the title and from a return to the octagon, like a lot of people wanted to see. So that's kind of the lay of the land.
Well, like you say, he is making good performances, but he's kind of positioning himself in one of those gatekeeper type positions if he's not careful. You know, of course, the loss to Woodley was a solid effort, and then Masaki, I mean, it's a former Pride Grand Prix guy, champion. But you know, he's going to have to get on that winning road if he's going to step forward back into the show.
Now another middleweight showdown as Scott Hands of Steel Smith returns to the division that he likes at middleweight. You know, he was at welterweight. He looked real sickly. He's back to a better division against the very hungry Lumumba Sayers, 2-0 in Strikeforce. Sayers was dominant in this fight. Take a look there. You can see the grappling was good. The striking was good. He had a few things to say after the fight. Let's take a look. He's here with Lumumba Sayers. Just got a big win over Scott Smith, by far the biggest win of your career. Name fighter, man. Scott Smith's been through some wars. He's had some big wins. How did it feel to get that W today?
It felt great. You know, with God the leader of my life, you know, I had no doubt that I was going to go in there and win tonight. I felt victory from after Hell Week, you know, with my coaches. When Hell Week was over, I felt like nobody could stop me. I'm going with Chris Green. He's 240 pounds. He's ready for Klitschko. So
he looks a lot like John Jones, too. I kept looking up at him. I'm like, is that John Jones over there? No, it's Chris Green. Looks a lot like John Jones, too.
Yeah, that's Chris, the future Green, man. We just got to get him. We got to get him in the right position to go ahead and knock Klitschko out. So, you know, if I can go with my coach and really get it in, and anybody my size, they're going to have a hard time with me.
Not only does he have the beard, but he has the Rocky Mountains in the back of his head. Casey, I know you see this right now. Step your game up. You got to get the back of your head, too. You can't just do the beard. I mean, that's childish. You got to go ahead and get the whole thing going on. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Go hard or go home. Go hard or go home. Lumumba Sayers got a big W here. Columbus, Ohio. Cyrus Fees, MMA Inside the Cage. So, Casey, the challenge has been laid down. You think maybe you can get like the Smoky Mountains in the back of your head? Maybe step your game up a little?
Hey, that's the back of your head.
Come on,
take it off, Sure Dog, not from you.
Co-main event at the point, Josh Thompson returning to the cage after a long absence, going against another top contender in KJ Nunes. KJ Nunes always brings it. This one had big title implications. Now Thompson grinds out a decision. The crowd is not happy with this, man. There was a lot of booing going on, but Thompson executed his game plan. He did a lot of ground and pound, and it was good. However, he was not happy with his performance, and you can hear that when he talked to Marvin Allo.
Josh, congratulations on the win. I know it's been a long time. You've had to battle various injuries. What did you think about your performance tonight?
It was
okay. Elaborate. Why do you think it was that bad?
How else do you explain it? No, really what happened was I haven't fought in 15 months. I tried something different because I was always getting hurt. And the bottom line is when I got back to my camp, I got staffed twice in the training camp. I couldn't train, so my conditioning. So that means my fight.
Do you feel that you are still worthy, though? I mean, you picked up the W, and a lot of people are anticipating the rubber match with Strikeforce Lightweight Champion Gilbert Melendez. Do you feel that's next?
I do feel it's next, only because I'm going to go back to the way I used to train.
Now, if Thompson does indeed get the fight with Melendez, this will be a rubber match, and it's going to be for the title. Now, Casey, early prediction on this fight.
I'm going to go with Melendez. I'm going to go with the champion because, you know, of course, Thompson took the first fight. Melendez looked extremely dominant in the return bout, and Melendez is just on a roll right now, man. He's one of the best in the world, I think, and I pick Melendez. Well, Thompson's a great talent.
We're going to hear from Melendez in just a second, Casey. Actually, before we get into the main event between Tate and Ronda Rousey, we happened upon some of the biggest names in MMA at the Arnold Classic. Let's take a look. This is MMA Inside the Cage. Cyrus Fees, MMA Inside the Cage. We're here at the Arnold Classic here, and I'm standing next to one of the UFC's brightest new heavyweights, Stipe Miocic. I'm standing next to one of the UFC's brightest bantamweight stars. Of course, that would be Scott Jorgensen. I'm standing next to the man that is pretty close to the top of the heap of the heavyweight division here at Strikeforce, undefeated, Daniel Cormier. Ohio. I'm standing next to UFC's Dustin Poirier. Talked a little bit about this off camera. They got the show out there on MTV called Caged.
You know, I don't want people to be educated the wrong way. So people who have no idea what MMA is, and then they watch that and they see these guys do the stupidest stuff you can think of and drink the day before they're fighting and all that stuff. You know, I don't want them to think that that's what mixed martial arts is, because it's not.
Standing by with Strikeforce Lightweight Champion Gilbert Melendez.
You know, I think I've done it in Strikeforce already, you know, by beating people out in the top 10 at the time and beating Shinya Aoki, the #2 fighter in the world at the time. And there's a point now where people believe that might be the case, but I have to have faith that they'll come through for me like they've done in the past. You know, I've been able to make myself as high as top 3 in the world right now, being in Strikeforce. I don't see why I can't be number 1.
Know who this guy is here? He's got the cowboy hat. He's got the mustache. It's Don Frye, the Predator, right here at the Arnold Classic.
Knock off this drug testing bull. If you're going to drug test athletes who produce money or produce millions of dollars, then drug test everybody on welfare. You know that? Yeah. And drug test against Congress. You know? What's fair is fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because these athletes, they're producing something, so why shut down something that's good for the country?
Okay, well, there it is, man. Wise words from Mr. Don Frye, the Predator, joining us, and I appreciate the time. Cyrus Fees, the Arnold Classic here for MMA Inside the Cage.
As a professional fighter, there's a lot of things that I need to be concerned about. I need to be concerned about my opponent. I need to worry about my fans. I don't want to have to be concerned about my blood work. That's why I go to advanced sports labs, and I get my blood work done in an affordable manner. They get it done fast. They send it to the commission, they send it to the promoter, and they send it to me, so I have peace of mind knowing that everything's done properly.
I mean, why wouldn't you use advanced sports labs? They get things done faster than the competition, and their standard rates are lower than everyone else's sale rates. It's no brainer.
Expedite your blood work today at advancedsportslabs.com. MMA Inside the Cage, brought to you by Advanced Sports Labs.
Time for the third and final round. Time to impress the judges, Casey. And I know you like those interviews. Don Frye, man, letting it all hang out. We're going to have the full interview on our YouTube. Crazy stuff.
I was so jealous of you, man, because I really wanted to get that. You know, I like to interview the old schoolers and stuff like that. But you did have a special gift for me. You put him up to prank call me, and that was so cool. Thank you very much.
We should get the transcript from that, because that was interesting stuff. The main event in Columbus featured 2 of the biggest stars in female mixed martial arts. You had the bantamweight champion, Miesha Tate, and #1 contender, Rowdy Ronda Rousey. There was a ton of trash talk, and we even saw some fireworks at the weigh-ins here. You could see the headbutt there from Rousey. Wild stuff. You know, Casey, have you ever seen this much press and hype for a women's matchup? And why do you think there was so much this time?
Never seen that kind of hype before. I mean, the Cyborg versus Gina Carano, that was a really big build-up, but nothing like this. Ronda Rousey truly knows how to talk. She's really pushing. You know, she came from the same gym that Roddy Piper and his son Colt train at. You know, so I'm sure she picked up a little bit of that gab. But man, something else, and I think she's going to be a huge name to pick up women's MMA in the future.
I think so too. Now, we even saw Brian Caraway, UFC featherweight, and Miesha Tate's longtime boyfriend, get involved. And when he responded to Rousey, he said that if he ever fought her, he'd knock her teeth down her throat, and that no woman could beat a man at any sport. Now, I don't know about that, Casey, but I don't put anything past Ronda Rousey.
Man, you know, for sure, pound for pound, a man will always have a strength advantage over women. That's not to say, you know, I trained some with Tara LaRosa over the years. I have seen Tara LaRosa, you know, submit guys in training, you know, but you know, for the most part, it is an uphill challenge. But Ronda Rousey's something else. I don't know.
She's something else, is right. Now, the fight was tremendous. Both girls came to fight. Ronda got some key takedowns and almost had an armbar early. Tate escaped, which is something that no other fighter's been able to do, and mounted some submission tries of her own. But in the end, it was a big judo throw and one of the sickest arm bars that we've seen in a while. She didn't break the arm, but man, did she hyperextend that thing. It was nasty. What were you thinking when you were watching that?
I was thinking that Miesha Tate wants to hold on to her belt with everything in her soul, and she did. She fought, and she got out once. But you know, your arm can only take so much, and you got to tap, and you got to live to fight another day, and that's what she did.
Well, here's what Ronda had to say after the fight. A few thoughts about Brian Caraway, actually, Miesha Tate's boyfriend, and even some choice words from her judo coach. He's a legend, Judo Gene LaBelle. Take a look.
What do you think about the champion's performance as well? It was a fantastic first round. Obviously, the longest fight of your career, but you did it again.
Yeah, she's much more, you know, savvy on the ground than I anticipated. But, you know, she's good. She's legit, but I don't feel that bad about it.
I'm here with Judo Gene LaBelle, an absolute legend. Gene, you have to be extremely elated that Ronda Rousey pulled off this fight. She showed some tremendous judo, and once again, the armbar came into play, and now she's a champion. Just talk a little bit about the fight.
I am so proud of her. You know, I'm her uncle, Uncle Gene, and she's done it. I says, going pro, what is she going to do? Get in one of those medals from the Olympics? She would have won the gold in the Olympics easy. But she says, you know, they won't pay my rent for 1 month. Now her rent's paid for a year.
More of the post-fight interviews and exclusive footage from the Arnolds. You go to our YouTube page, check out all the extra content, subscribe so you can see all this stuff. For more information about Strikeforce, be sure to head over to Strikeforce.com. Casey's curtain call coming up after the break, but first, it's our MMA Inside the Cage main event of the week.
Alexis, you ready? Sarah, you ready? Bring it! The bell and round one. We are scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds in women's bantamweight action. Sarah Kaufman in the red gloves, Alexis Davis in the blue gloves, and immediately they come out chucking the leather. Alexis Davis again working at the Armory in Florida on her stand-up, wanting to really hone that skill, and boy, she is definitely staying in the pocket with noted striker Sarah Kaufman.
Yeah, and so far Davis's punches that have hit Kaufman have hit a solid piece of granite, basically.
Wow, she's got the collar tied, feeding Kaufman some uppercuts, a right hand. Oh, but Davis got stung with that shot from Kaufman, but boy, proving that she too can take a shot. Davis's face really marked up now, blood, and I think there's a cut over her left eye. And there's an overhand right on the exit from Kaufman. And the referee now calls for a timeout. They are definitely going to inspect that gash over the left eye of Alexis Davis. It does not look good. Non-stop action in the Strikeforce women's bantamweight battle between former champion Sarah Kaufman and Alexis Davis. 5 seconds left in the second round. We want more. We're getting it. Round 3 coming up. Neither lady has attempted a takedown yet thus far. I know the fans are enjoying the action, and the ladies are showing all of their warrior spirit in this fight. It's been an unbelievable pace.
He's there. It's a very good observation, Morrow, and she's landed some elbows from there, also an uppercut.
And again, now closing and gets that outside trip takedown into side control. Alexis Davis with the first takedown of this fight.
Got her lulled into the brawl and look for the takedown.
Make a sacrifice.
Final 10 seconds. Strikeforce women's bantamweight action. Sarah Kaufman, Alexis Davis. Oh, Canada, what a fight!
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we have a majority decision. Here are the score totals. Judging ringside, Cardo Urso scores about 29-29, even a draw. Overruled by judges Daryl Weiss and Alto Torriero, both scoring about 29-28 in favor of the winner, Sarah Kaufman.
All right, Columbus, Ohio, I know you're booing, but please let's hear it for both of these ladies. A fantastic fight tonight, Sarah Kaufman and Alexis Davis.
Advanced Sports Lab is always a great experience. You go in, you get your blood drawn, they take care of all the paperwork for you, they send your results to the commission and to the promoter, so I can just focus on being a professional fighter and getting on the fight.
Advanced Sports Labs. Expedite your blood work today at advancedsportslabs.com. MMA Inside the Cage, brought to you by Advanced Sports Labs.
The episode was epic. The event was epic. Tate versus Rousey. And before we go, let's hear an epic curtain call.
All right. Well, partner, thanks again for picking up all those great interviews up at Strikeforce. Yes, I was so jealous I couldn't be there. I knew this was going to be a big event, and it really, really delivered. You know, Ronda Rousey, she can talk the talk. She can back it up, and she is a huge figurehead for women's MMA. So all hail to the new queen of mixed martial arts.
Next week, we have big interviews as Iris Garcia got out to the Rain Training Center, caught up with Mayhem Miller, Mark Munoz, and more. Get over to our official YouTube page and check out all the interviews. Find us on Facebook. Follow at MMAITC and send any questions or comments to MMAinsidethecage@gmail.com. I'm Cyrus Fees.
Casey Oxendine.
And we'll see you next week inside the cage.